So guys, I'm going to bake this fruit loaf cake from the back of my four-wheel drive. So stay tuned and watch how I do it. That's the result. Cooked in my Air Roaster Pro oven. Yum. Oh, still a bit warm, it just come out the oven. But that is beautiful. Yum. Cheers. Good morning. Welcome to my backyard. Pretending I'm camping again. Remember in the last video I mentioned that I sometimes like to set up camp. Well, sometimes, a lot of times I set up camp out the backyard and test everything. So thank goodness I've got a decent sized backyard here. I mean, sometimes I complain about the grass, that I have to mow the grass, but it's worth it when I've got a decent sized backyard so I can set up camp. So I asked in the last video that I filmed where I cooked the honey and soy chicken, if you guys out there in YouTube land and Facebook land, where I've linked this to, and some of the Facebook, well, mainly my own Facebook channel, that you like this format of filming. Because I do a lot of testing in the backyard, so that way when I go camping I don't have to worry about this. I can go camping and then I can just sit back and grab a drink, grab my comfy chair and just relax. Go for a bushwalk, go for a walk through the city, go check out museums, go for a wander along the beach, sit back at camp, meet people, relax, read a book, not delve into stuff like this when you're camping. So I do a lot of this in the backyard, and this is exactly what I do. I set up my camp as if I'm out camping. So I've got everything set up here that if I'm going to go camping and use my Air Roaster Pro, I've got my Air Roaster Pro sitting right here. So we're going to test all this gear out. I've tested it many times. I know it works. I know what settings to put on here to make that in generator a lot quieter. So I don't know if you can hear it, guys, but about what would it be, probably 5 meters just off me right, I've got my little Honda generator, and you can probably just barely hear it. So it's absolutely no problems. I'm just talking in a normal voice. It's very quiet, but at the moment it's just running on an idle. The battery's fully charged, so it's actually on absorption right now, and it's sitting on 88 watts. So, but with this setup, guys, with this setup, let me explain something basically, how this system works, this electric system works basically. I've got my Air Roaster Pro that cycles on and off, so it's like an oven. As you can see here, it's just like an oven. These are brilliant. They've got like a little rotisserie in them. There are a lot of optional accessories. I can fit a whole chicken in there. I can fit a 2 kilo plus roast in there, and it's got a rotisserie that slowly cooks, and boy does it cook really good. And it's quick, easy to clean, cooks quick, and yeah, I just love them. I think they're brilliant. But it draws 1550 watts. So you remember my Victron Multiplus, so it's a 2000/80, so it's a 12 volt unit. You can get them at 24 volt, and it's 2000, but 2000's VA, which equivalents to 1600 watts. Now that's 1600 watts, guys, is if the temperature, ambient temperature, is 25 degrees or lower. So the warmer the ambient, the hotter your inverters get, the less they're going to produce, and the harder you're working them as well. Today, I don't know, what's the ambient temperature today? So we're looking at just over 27 degrees at the moment. I love this. I love this. You see, I'll just turn around and I've got everything I need to know here. Fridge, freezer, fridge compressor, Pajero cabin, ambient temperature, humidity as well. It records the humidity. So you can actually get another one of these Ruby tags that also records if it's going to let you know if there's rain coming. I wish I had grabbed one of them. I'm going to order one of them one day. In fact, there's a supplier in Australia. If you want to comment down below who you are, someone messaged me the other day saying that they're going to start stocking these Ruby tags soon, and these are those Bluetooth temp thermometers that you can use in your fridge, freezer, ambient, inside the car. You can get them fully waterproof. You can dunk them in the water and put them in the ice, etc. Or put them in the ice. Put them in the freezer to make ice so you can see how cold that ice is. Or you can put it in the fridge, dunk it inside to see how cold that water is. That's more like it. Alright. So guys, now the beauty with this system, actually I've got some water here. I'm just going to take it out before it gets too cold. I just pre-measured some water to use to mix into the cake mix. So we're going to make a cake mix and I'll show you shortly. I've got everything I need all in here to make the cake. Now you see I've got the digital multi-control here, guys. With this, there's a knob here on the right and it's got 3.5. That means I can control the amps that's coming in from shore power, whether that's generator or shore power. In my case, I've got the little Honda generator connected, which is only about 5 meters, just that direction, sitting on the ground. And guys, it's louder than it normally is. Okay, it's louder now than it normally is because it's reverberating. It's sitting, it's been a bit of showers, and I can see there's some rain coming shortly, so you might hear the pitty patty of rain coming. That'll be a good test for this. I haven't tested this little awning cover right here at the back here to see if it stops the rain. So let's hope it does, because we got this fella going. I hope you see the video abruptly stop quickly. You know, the water's leaking through. I'm sure it will work. I'm sure it will. Okay, so I can control how many amps is coming in. The reason I'm explaining this to you before I start cooking the cake is because I want to show you how you can use this unit, a unit like this, when you're out camping, and how you can use a small generator. Guys, you could use a Honda. Actually, anyone out there living in the area here, so I'm in the Central Coast area in Bundaberg, I'd love to have a loan of the Honda 1000 watt. I want to do a comparison video between it and mine. I generally run my Honda max 800 watts. Okay, even though I've got a 1550 watt Air Roaster Pro, I can run that at minimum, probably even down to 500. I'll probably run it down to 500 just to make sure it's really quiet. And what that then happens with these Victron multi-control, and sorry, not multi-control, then what happens with the Victron Multiplus, so they got the built-in inverter and they got the built-in charger. So the charger bypasses the inverter. So whatever comes through shore power or generator bypasses the inverter and powers your device. For example, a 1550 watt oven here. But I'm only going to pull out about 500 watts out of that, and I can control that by dropping the amperage that's allowed coming in. So where's it going to get the rest of the 1000 watts? Then whatever extra it needs, it gets that from the inverter. So the inverter will pick up that extra 1000 watts from my battery. Now I know my battery will handle 1000 watts no problem at all. I can draw say 140, I've worked out 140 amps fairly safely, particularly the cooler, if it's not too hot, out of this iTech World 120X. Although I cannot run it to power this. It's a bit cooler today. Would have been an interesting test to see if my inverter would have been able to run this. I reckon it would, but it'd probably get pretty hot and it'll be working it pretty hard. So, because it's ambience 27.6, so it's about 2.5 degrees above its rated capacity of 1600 watts. So I hope you understand, guys, and trying to explain this as simple as I can without confusing you too much. Now, if I had a lithium battery, like I mentioned in the last video, that will continuously sustain minimum 175 amps draw, then I'll be able to run this, particularly if there were conditions below 25 degrees Celsius. I'll be able to run this without the aid of my Honda. So, but that will come one day. I will get a battery that will update this, but the Honda's working just fine, or shore power. Or if I'm going camping somewhere that's not allowed to run a generator, then I'll take all my solar panels. So I've got 550 watts of portable solar panels. So as long as the sun is out, like it is right now, but I can see it's pretty dark out there, that should be able to run that extra power coming in, should be able to run this. Otherwise, I just use my little, which is always in the car. I've got a little air fryer that draws maximum 1000 watts. And that's only when they're running. So these ratings that I'm giving you guys is when these are actually running. So the beauty of these air fryers is once they get the heat, boom, they shut down real quick. So, right, let's get on to this. Hopefully you understand that. I'm gonna have more videos similar like this coming up. So normally, guys, I run these tests. I don't worry about from the camera, but I reckon I should, because it actually gives really good content, I think, and it seems to be stuff that you guys are interested in, particularly now that these type of setups are becoming a lot more popular. Even Andrew St. Pierre White, in his latest build on, if you check out his YouTube channel, what's it, 4X Overland, I believe it is, he's doing something very similar to what I am, except he's not using an upright fridge, and I don't think he's got an air fryer yet. We are going to make something simple. You can pick these up cheap at Coles Woolies in Australia, and it's a Greens Australian brand moist date loaf. I love sultana bread, sultana cakes, something like this. So we're going to cook this inside here. So let's have a look at the ingredients. Now, all we need is 1 egg, 200 mils of water, and we need a loaf pan. So I just so happen to have a loaf pan sitting right here. So we're going to use that. So let's put that over there for now. So now, I like to add extra sultanas in when I make these, because as you recall, I love sultanas. So always, the more sultanas the better, guys. Mixing bowl, mixing spoon, another mixing spoon, so we can scrape the edge and make sure we got everything that we need. So, and the beauty with this, you don't need an electric mixer. Although with a setup like this, there's no issues with me bringing a little portable hand electric mixer if need be. But this one here, it even says in the instructions that you use a wooden spoon to mix it. Now, when you got these air fryer ovens, you don't need to preheat them, guys. So you can notice I'm not turning that on, so there's no preheating. Not once have I ever found I've had to preheat that. Very simple. That's it. That's all it is. Right like that. Let's try to open this up without making a mess. Pull that in. So you just pull that content in like so. Put that in here. Quick read of the instructions, what most of you guys don't read. Preheat oven to 180, 160, we're not going to do that. Grease and flour loaf pan, so I've done that. So what I've done is I smeared it with butter and then I put flour in there and tip the excess out. That way it's easy to take out of your loaf pan. Okay, place cake mix, egg and water into mixing bowl. Cake mix, egg and water. Where do I put the water? So we've got water and I need 1 egg. I just so happen to have eggs in here. You saw how quick that was to gain access to this egg in this fridge. If I was using those chest type freezers with the drawers, I'd still be digging out looking for eggs, and most likely it's probably be broken. Now, very important in my case, add extra sultanas. I need some, maybe eat more. Bit more here and more for me. You want some? Mix. What we do now, just mix with the wooden spoon. Very simple to make these. Like I mentioned, it's a packet there, guys. Okay, you want to have a look at that? Have a look at the instructions on the back. You can pause that if you wish. Some more there. So these are available at Coles or Woolworths, the supermarkets here in Australia. Where the ingredients come from, I don't know. I know it's Australian brand. Not that that makes a much of a difference. Just seen, made in Australia from at least 75% Australian ingredients. So I guess the other 25% will be from China. Right, let's finish mixing this up. So you got to turn the bowl so you can see what I'm doing here, guys. Can you see that? Now you don't need to mix it for long. Looks evenly mixed to me. Just, I don't like to go too crazy when you mix these. I just fold it over the top of each itself. That's it. Let's grab the pan and pour all this into the pan. So ideally you want one of these little bread loaves that I've got here. These are ideal. Hopefully you can still buy these. This one's very old. I remember having this, owning this when we were still on the farm some 30 odd years ago. And it's that one. I like to give it a tap, shake it side to side. The reason I like to do that, spread it out, then what happens, it rises more uniform, not just big peak in the center. You still get a bit of a peak in the center, but not as much as if you didn't spread it out like so. Then we just add, put this in the lower tray setting, we add that in there. So you can see that pan fits in there, no problems at all. Turn it on. Now you're going to notice that that's going to build up in rev slightly, not a lot. So I got this set to, I'll set it to 3. Alright, and we'll see what it draws out of that. Now, just so happens this has got a cake setting. So we just set this button until we get to cake. I did a little bit of a boo-boo, so I had to cut it and do it again because I actually left this on charger only, which meant the inverter wasn't coming on. So I only had it set to 3.5 amps, which wasn't enough. So my Multiplus is built with a lot of safety features, and what happens, it actually shuts down. So my Multiplus shut down and I lost power to this. And then I turned around and checked and realized I didn't have the inverter turned on. So guys, with these Multipluses, let me explain that. You can actually have set it to charger only, off or on. When you set the charger only, that turns off the inverter. So the inverter will not kick in. So how I had it set, it would only work coming right through from shore power. Because I had that set down to 3.5 amps, I immediately wanted to get 550 out of this. The Honda, of course, wasn't able to put out that 1550 watts because this was limited down to something like 700 watts. So what happened is the inverter also shut down to protect it. And what happens when it shuts down, it goes through a testing phase, and it goes through this testing phase every time you turn it on as well, and make sure everything is fine. And then when everything is fine, you can hear like a relay click over, and then it all starts up. So it can take anywhere from 20 seconds, sometimes even up to 30 seconds for it to start, to go through that testing phase. So that's what happened there. Now, so this is cooking away happily. It's been going for a couple of minutes now. Now, I've got this set at 4.5. You just heard the Honda just drop down slightly. Okay, what that means, 2 minutes, and that's already at temp. That's already at 180 degrees. So, and that cake is starting to rise already. So that's how quick these come to temp. Once they reach temp, then they'll stay at that temp until the temperature gets down enough. Well, you know how it works, and then it turns on again. So at the moment, so what it's doing at the moment, it's still drawing 960 watts. Now you just heard it's just picked up slightly more again. And now that's just cut in, that's just come on again now. So we are drawing 1600 watts. So on the AC out, we've got 1600 watts coming out, which is close to 240 volts, 6.9 amps. So we've got 6.9 amps. Now I've got a 15 amp fuse in this. You can go as high as 25 amps. Now these will output up to 25 amps if need be. I've set it down low because I'm never going to go any more than probably this here. It's probably the most I'm ever going to draw out of it. Now, 973 watts coming from my Honda generator. This is just cycled off. We'll just wait till it turns back on. What it's doing now is actually charging the battery. So it's charging the battery. That's why it's dropped down and you can hear the rev. I don't know if you can hear it. It's very quiet, these Honda generators. And if anything, it's actually a lot more noisier now because it's sit under the cover and my house. I got the big wall of the house that the sound is reverberating going back right here. And my yard is all covered in. So if you're in an open area, you wouldn't really take much notice of that. And in saying that, I still don't take much notice of it. Okay, so we got the inverter on. So we got 975 coming from that. The inverter is putting in another 600 and so about 650, 670 watts is coming out of the inverter from my battery, which equates to 60 amps. So there's 60 amps coming out of my battery right now. And what happens now, you just heard this, it's just shut down. Okay, it's just recycling. And now you heard the Honda generator has just picked that back up to 950. So what it's doing now is it's charging the battery. Right now it's putting 52 amps back into the battery. So say this goes for half an hour. By the time that half an hour up, that battery is still pretty much fully charged. And that's a 2000 watt generator. Continuously you can run at 1800 watts. So 2000 watts is pretty much its peak. 1800 watts continuously. Now that's cycled down. Let me see if I can turn that down. Alright, can't turn that down anymore. Now for example, okay, I can't go down any lower than 4.5. If I recall, I think you have to turn that down to 3.5 before you put a load on the Honda generator. Otherwise, for some reason, you can still adjust it, but it'll only go down to 4.5. It's something to do with the actual Multiplus. I did read it, but you guys own a Multiplus, you would know exactly about that. Now I can turn this up to put more load coming from the inverter, not the inverter, the generator. And now I got that set to 5.5 amps. And now you can hear the Honda generator picking up. And now it's doing the 1180 coming from the Honda generator and only about 400 watts coming from my inverter, which is taking out about 35 amps out of the battery. And I can go even higher. Well, it's just cycled down. So, but you can hear how much louder it is. So I like to run it at max about 3.5, 4, and shame I can't turn it down to 4 at the moment. I'm going to need to look into that, why I can't turn it down. I have to make sure it's set that 3.5 when I turn it on, which I did have it set at 3.5. But when I did that boo-boo, I turned it up to 4.5, and then I noticed I didn't have the inverter switched on. So I left it at 4.5. Now this has been running for like 10 minutes now, and my battery's at 96%. So in 10 minutes, it's only taken out 4% out of the battery. So my generator is keeping up to it pretty well, spot on, with it limited down to about half its running capacity. So the generator's only running at half when it's on peak. Now this is turned off. It's cycled down. But again, it's gone up again because the battery is charging now charging at 51 amps. So guys, we're going to let this be now, let it cook for a while. That's risen up now almost twice the height already, and it's rising very evenly. I like to bring one of these skewers with me to check when they're cooked. So I just poke it inside the skewer. Now it's a few times I've baked this cake inside here, and I usually find that that half an hour is pretty well spot on, sometimes 27 minutes. And in fact, this will be very interesting, guys. I'm cooking this cake here, and it's a much cooler day today, thank goodness for that. I love these cooler days. Got a nice southerly breeze blowing right through here, going up through my garage, and not the garage, through the front of the garage, in between where my gate is, the side of the house, coming right through here. So it's quite windy here at the moment, and there's a cool breeze blowing on this. And as you can see, it's not affecting it whatsoever. If anything, it's probably running more than what it normally does. I think it's because of that cool breeze hitting it, it's cooling it down quicker. But you can hear that it's still cycling on and off. So that's awesome. So that battery's still on 96% too, by the way. Alright, so this has got 19 minutes to go. So I can't think of anything else that we can talk about at the moment. My drawer system's working perfectly, as you can see. I picked up, when I went and picked up this fridge, I went and got one of these big jet boils. This is the real big one, and I haven't even tried it yet, guys. I've just taken it out the packet, and tell you what, it was on sale. I didn't pay much more than what I did for the other one, the jet boil. I can't even think what it's called, but if you go back on my channel, you'll see I've got a common brand jet boil that's sold. I wanted a bigger one because the way I camp, when I use that in my shower, and for years I've always did this way. I just use a foldable bucket, and I've got like a portable lithium battery powered shower head, and I boil some water and put it in with some cold water, so I've got a warm shower, and I just put the lithium powered shower head in that, and that's how I have my shower, because it takes up no room whatsoever, and it's a good way to save water as well. Well, I found with the other jet boil I had, I used to have to boil the water in it twice because it wasn't big enough capacity. So I've always wanted this one, and I saw it was on sale when I went and picked up this one here, so I grabbed it, and it was really good. It's a nice surprise. It comes with a lot of the extras that I had to pay quite a fair bit money for the other one that I bought. So in the end, the other one cost a lot more than what this one does, because this comes with all the extras, whereas the other ones, you don't have the extras. And the extras I'm talking about, or maybe the other ones do come with these extras now and they're a standard addition to them now, I don't know. But in the lid, it's got the stand. If I recall right, you can see the stand, so that clips onto your gas bottles. Okay. If I recall, I had to pay extra for that one, for the other one, and comes with this nice little storage bag here, which I think is cool. But this is the other extra. It comes with this pot stand. I know for a fact that I could pay quite considerably fair bit more money, something around the $20–25 mark, if I recall, for this additional pot stand. It comes standard in this one here. So I think that's brilliant. And they're the two extras that I purchased for the other one. So I haven't put it to the test yet. I mean, what's there to put to the test? It's worked exactly the same as the other one. And of course this is the base. This is built a bit different. I don't know, do you guys in America, can you get these? They're called a jet boil. Do you have jet boils in America? Or is it only something that we have in Australia? If you can comment down below, let me know. That'll be awesome. So Alright, that's got 15 minutes to go now. So we'll come back when that's close to being finished cooked. I've got 5 minutes to go, less than 5 minutes. And it's looking really good. It's risen nice and evenly, and that's because I got that pan, I shook it like so that most of the mixture doesn't sit in the middle, because it's when you mix it up, it's a fairly thick mixture, this one. Now the battery is on 98%, so it's actually now keeping a charge. It's actually charging the battery as I'm going. So if I'm out camping and I wanted to bake this cake, then I'd only need to run that generator only for the time while this is running. Now if I had a battery that's capable to withstand a continuous up to say 165, 175 amps, then I would be able to run this without the generator on a day like today, because although that would be an interesting test, because ambient temperature is 28.1 degrees. And these Tag Bluetooth temp sensors that I'm using, they are accurate to within 0.1 of a degree, guys. 0.1, or is it 0.0, or it might be 0.01 of a degree. One or the other. Even at 0.1 degree, I'm pretty sure which it is extremely accurate. I don't know what you think, but I reckon it is. And the battery's at 98%. So we've still got it set on 4.5 amps draw. So it's set at 4.5, it's actually drawing 4.3 amps out of my Honda generator. Now, as I mentioned before, just another reminder, guys, that I want to try this test out with a Honda 1000 watt. Now this one's working at half capacity at that 900, right now 950 is coming out there, so just a tad above half capacity. So the Honda 1000 is rated at continuous 800 watts, which is perfect. That's the most I draw out of a generator when I'm using it. Sometimes only 500-600. So I'm really keen to try a Honda 1000. I want to see if it's noisier or quieter. From the specs that I've been reading online, if you believe it or not, oh, that's cooked now, that's just switching off. If you believe it or not, they say that at 100%, the Honda 1000 running at 100%, drawing 800 watts, is more quieter than this Honda, the EU22i, which is the 2000 watt version. It's more quieter than that one running at the 800 amps, 800 watts. So, and in addition to that, this one weighs like 23 kilos. The 1000 watt weighs 13 kilos. So an additional 10 kilos saving. So I wonder at times if the 1000 watt would have been more suitable for my setup, only because of the weight saving, but possibly because it might also be quieter running at this setting. Hot. Now guys, that's got to sit for 10 minutes, thereabouts. if I could get it over there and show it to you. I don't know, it might be a bit warm. Let me see if I can carry this over. So guys, I'm going to bake this fruit loaf cake. So guys, I'm going to bake this fruit loaf cake from the back of my four-wheel drive. So stay tuned and watch how I do it. Bit of an intro there for the start of the video, which you would have just seen. So there you go. So if you wait 10 minutes, that will, and I'm going to need to give it a bit more longer. So what happens if you let it cool down a bit before you take it out, it will actually release from the sides. But I'm just going to assist it a bit. I've never had problems in the past getting this out. It's never stuck to the side. Normally always comes out clear. But just to make sure, I always do run the knife just down the side to make sure that it's not stuck anywhere. There it is. Oh bugger, guys, it broke apart because it's not cooked. Oh, I forgot to put this thing in here. Oh, normally it cooks in that half an hour, but oh dear. Oh, I've never done that before. How embarrassing. You didn't see that, did you? That's terrible. Let me put it back on cake. All right. That's probably going to need, I can adjust the timer, I can adjust the temperature on this as well. What shall we set on? It's got like an LCD display on here. I think it might need at least another 10 minutes. That's another test, guys. To be honest, this is the first time I've baked this cake outside with the wind blowing. I use this, these things work so well, I use this in the house. So I used to take out the vehicle, put it in the house and cook most of our meals and that. Whatever, anything we want to roast or bake, I cook in here because it does so much better job than your oven in the kitchen. And it's a lot more efficient, saves power as well, don't have to preheat, etc. Cooks meals a lot quicker too. And cooks it really even. You saw that cake, how even that was. It looked like it was cooked on the top, but it was still a little bit soggy in the base, and that's why it didn't release. So I forgot to use this to test, but I don't know how. I'm too busy yapping away at you guys that didn't check that. The Honda 1000 watt. If anyone nearby has got one, I'd be really grateful if I could have a loan of it for a couple of days. If you're not keen on that, you're welcome. We can meet up somewhere in a park somewhere at town or on the banks of the Burnett River. You can rock up there with it and I can bake a cake, guys. I could bake this cake. We could run the little Honda, bake this cake and have a cappuccino. So I'll make a nice cappuccino and a cake for you. You sit down and enjoy. How's that? We could also do that if you wish. That'll give me at least half an hour. That half an hour run will give me a good idea run exactly the same as what we did here, cook exactly the same, but with the Honda 1000. So anyone in the region of Bundaberg got a Honda 1000 watt, pop a note down below, let me know, eh? And we can meet up so I can run some tests on it. Also, not just the Honda 1000 guys, Yamaha, the Yamaha 1000 as well. So if you anyone out there that's got the Yamaha 1000, I'd love to be able to test that, because apparently the Yamaha 1000 is even more quieter than the Honda. Now I've got a sound pressure gauge, a little portable sound pressure gauge, very accurate, that I've owned for years. So I will use that for these tests and monitor the decibels on the sound. So not just go by ear, or go by that as well. And of course, that's going to be filmed, guys. I will do a video on that to compare. So how cool is that if we can compare all three, the Yamaha 1000 to the Honda 1000 against the Honda 2200. So anyone out there has got the Yamaha 1000, the Honda 1000, I've already got the Honda 2200. If you can let me know down below, and let's tee it up so we can run a test and do a video on that. That would be awesome. Okay guys, we're at an extra 10 minutes on that. Let's check to see if he's cooked. Looks more like it. Yeah, that's coming out dry. So needs a little bit more time, guys. So we can turn that off now. How much more time? Out in the environment, inside the house, where there's no breeze, of course, half an hour. Out here in the environment, but then guys, this is probably the worst environment. It's a cooler day today. We've got this beautiful southerly breeze coming through right here. Hitting us right here, it's blowing right on this. So if the wind was coming from that direction, or even from this section, it would drop this. It would not affect it as much. But this is why I do these tests, guys. It's because I know I can still run this out in the environment with the wind blowing on it, and yeah, it'll take a little bit longer to cook, but what is it, 10 minutes. So instead of 30 minutes, it took about 40 minutes to cook, and looks like she's well and truly cooked this time. Guys, I can already pick that up by hand. That just shows you how it's a little bit messy this time, because it fell apart. Let's put that part back in there, shall we? This is the worst it's ever come out. And my luck, it's when I filmed it. So you can see there's a relatively clean pot there. There we go. I reckon that looks pretty good. It's nice. Oh, hot. And there she is, guys. That's the result. Cooked in my Air Roaster Pro oven. Yum. Oh, still a bit warm, just come out the oven. But that is beautiful. Yum. Cheers. That's it, guys. That might do for today's video. Battery's still on 100% charge, so I don't need that generator anymore. So I can switch that off. You can hear how quiet it is now that it's idling. That's why, naturally, the faster you rev these, the louder it's going to be. So by being able to control the input, how many amps coming in, is a wonderful feature, because it allows me to use all this unit in, say, a caravan that's got a bit of a dodgy power supply, power connected. Then I can limit the amps that's coming from there and make up the rest with my inverter. And when you finish the draw that's coming from the AC, then all that load is going into the battery and charge your battery back up. So it's a brilliant system, works great. Andrew St. Pierre White is putting a similar system to what I've got in his 4-wheel drive with the Multiplus, etc. So guys, it's lunchtime now. It's 11:54 AM. So I'm going to go fix up a sandwich. I've got some ham and tomatoes in the fridge here. I'm going to make a ham and tomato with cheese sandwich and a couple of pieces of the cake here. I'm going to bring some inside and give to me mum. So till next time, guys, look after yourself and please subscribe, put a like, and cheers.